The morning sunlight slanted through the half-open blinds of the Ramirez apartment, casting long stripes across the kitchen floor. Maria Ramirez was already frantically tidying up, her hands moving faster than her mind could follow. Laundry was piled high in the corner, the basket teetering dangerously as she sorted clothes by color and texture. Her 5-year-old son, Diego, had been unusually quiet for the past few minutes, and that silence, as every parent knows, was rarely a good sign. She turned just in time to see him peering curiously at the washing machine, his small hands reaching toward the open drum. "Diego, no. Don't touch that," she shouted, but her warning was swallowed by the hum of the appliance. Before she could react, he had slipped inside, wedging himself in with the ease only a child could manage. Panic hit her like a tidal wave. "Diego, talk to me." "Stay still." She tugged at the edges of the drum, her fingers slippery with sweat, heart hammering against her ribcage. Neighbors began knocking, drawn by the sound of a mother's frantic screams, and someone called 911. The next 15 minutes were a blur of sirens, shouting, and the metallic clatter of tools as firefighters arrived to free Diego. He emerged covered in detergent and lint, crying, but otherwise miraculously unharmed. Maria clutched him to her chest, rocking him back and forth, her tears soaking his small shoulders. But the relief that should have come was short-lived. Within a week, Maria received a letter from the management company, pointing out that the washing machine was her responsibility and hinting at potential liability for any damages. She tried to ignore it, focusing on Diego's recovery and the sheer terror of what could have happened. Yet the anxiety lingered, gnawing at her nights. Every time Diego laughed or ran around the apartment, she felt that same pulse of fear in her chest. She began documenting everything: the incident, the doctor's notes, the lingering scratches on the washing machine drum. Her decision to pursue legal action wasn't immediate. Maria spent sleepless nights debating whether it was fair, whether she could justify it. She knew the washing machine was old, a relic from a previous tenant, prone to malfunctioning in subtle ways. The door's latch mechanism, she realized after research, could trap objects if it wasn't maintained properly. Was that enough to make the company accountable for her son nearly being crushed? After consulting with several attorneys, she was convinced it was. The case would not just be about Diego, she thought, but about negligence, about preventing another child from experiencing the same terror. The lawsuit made headlines almost instantly. "Child trapped in washing machine, mother seeks justice," screamed the local news outlets. Reporters swarmed her modest apartment, cameras and microphones invading the space where she had tried to rebuild normalcy. Maria, usually reserved and careful, found herself giving statements, her voice steady but her hands trembling. She described the incident, her fear, and the lingering trauma that Diego experienced. "Even though he's fine physically," she told one reporter, "every time he hears the sound of the machine, he jumps. Every night he asks me, will it happen again?" That is the kind of fear no child should endure. The defendants were quick to respond, denying negligence and pointing to signs that warned tenants to supervise children near appliances. They argued that Maria had failed to follow standard safety protocols and that the incident, while unfortunate, was a result of parental oversight rather than mechanical failure. The courtroom battles were grueling. Days stretched into weeks as Maria recounted every detail of the morning, showing photos of the appliance, diagrams of the latch mechanism, and testimony from firefighters who had worked tirelessly to free Diego. Expert witnesses explained how older machines could pose hidden dangers, and psychologists spoke about the emotional trauma of near-death experiences in children. Diego became an unexpected star in the courtroom, his presence both heart-wrenching and compelling. He would sit quietly in the gallery, holding his mother's hand, eyes wide as lawyers debated mechanisms and liability. On some days, he would tug at her sleeve, whispering, "Mama, it's okay, right?" Her heart broke each time, a mixture of sorrow and resolve fueling her determination. She was fighting not just for compensation, but for recognition that even a moment's oversight, compounded by faulty equipment, could have lifelong consequences. Months passed and the trial grew increasingly tense. Maria faced subtle criticism from skeptical jurors and the defense. Questions about why she had allowed Diego to play near the laundry, insinuations that she was exaggerating. She weathered them all, grounded in the certainty that the washing machine's design flaw had put her son's life at risk. The emotional toll was immense. She found herself crying in parked cars, staring at the ceiling at night, and yet each morning she woke determined to continue. She refused to let fear silence her or diminish her fight for justice. Finally, the verdict arrived. The courtroom was silent, the air heavy with anticipation. The jury found that the management company had indeed failed to maintain a safe environment, that the washing machine's latch mechanism was a foreseeable hazard, and that Maria's vigilance had not absolved them of responsibility. They awarded significant compensation for Diego's physical and emotional trauma, as well as punitive damages to ensure the company would prioritize safety in the future. Relief flooded Maria in an overwhelming wave, tears streaming down her face as she clutched her son. "We did it, Diego," she whispered. "You're safe now." In the months that followed, the Ramirez family worked to rebuild normalcy. Diego cautiously approached laundry, but gradually, with gentle encouragement, he learned that machines could be safe when used properly. Maria dedicated herself to raising awareness about household hazards, speaking at parent groups and safety workshops. Her story became a cautionary tale, but also a testament to the power of persistence and courage. The washing machine, once a symbol of terror, was removed and replaced with a modern, child-proof appliance. And while the memory of that morning never completely faded, it transformed into a source of strength for Maria, a reminder that, even in the darkest moments, a mother's love could fuel extraordinary advocacy and change.